We're joined now by ACCC Chairman Rod Sims. Mr Sims, good morning.
Good morning, Michael.
Why have you given this deal the provisional tick?
We found that there were material benefits. They weren't large, but we found there were benefits to particularly Qantas, but also Emirates customers in terms of more frequencies, more destinations, of course, frequent flyer points redeeming, and benefits also to Australia's tourism industry, and there were some cost efficiencies. And we found that while those benefits weren't large, the sort of detriments or disadvantages of the deal were actually quite small, and that's because the international aviation industry is really quite competitive. So on the routes where Qantas and Emirates overlap, we didn't find that there was going to be any real problems for consumers, with the single exception of the New Zealand routes. Yeah,
and I want to ask you about that. Why have you imposed or intend imposing restrictions on the ability of this code-sharing deal on the New Zealand route?
It's not restrictions. What we've done is said that on various routes, the most popular routes really between Australia and New Zealand, there's actually three players on those routes: Qantas, Emirates separately, and New Zealand with its partner Virgin. And what we're saying is that Qantas and Emirates must maintain the capacity they have on those routes now. And if they maintain the capacity, then we're confident there won't be any consumer detriment.
Now, Qantas and Emirates, as you know, wanted a 10-year deal. You've restricted them to 5. Why is that?
We've restricted it to 5 because the benefits, as I say, while material, aren't large. We want to see how that capacity restriction on the Australia-New Zealand routes plays out, and also because in deciding that there aren't many detriments from the deal, we've made assumptions about which way the aviation industry worldwide is going. Now, we're very confident about the competitiveness of international aviation, but this is a serious tie-up between two competitors who are the major competitors on the Australia-Europe routes, for example. We're just keen to make sure that we keep a close eye on how this plays out, so that it plays out as we expect it will.
A concern has been expressed all through this process about the impact of this tie-up on those European routes, particularly the very popular Kangaroo route between Australia and the UK. Do you agree with some of those concerns that if you do in the end tick off on this deal, that competition in that very long-haul route will be further reduced?
We don't think so. Our original concern, certainly one I voiced, because I'm quite aware that Emirates flights are probably a bit cheaper by and large than the Qantas flights, and so we were concerned that the Emirates fares might go up to the Qantas fares under this alliance, but there's just too many other competitors for that to happen. You've got Singapore Airlines, you can fly to London via Singapore. You've got Cathay, you can fly via Hong Kong. You've got Etihad, you can fly by the Middle East, and you've also got more options coming from the Chinese airlines. So we're very confident that Emirates won't think about pushing up its prices, or the alliance won't, because if they do, people will take other alternative flights to London.
Qantas boss Alan Joyce was very loudly saying through this process as well that this deal was critical to the future viability of Qantas's international routes generally and operations. How much did that play in your considerations?
Really not much at all. As a competition regulator, we're never usually concerned about individual competitors. We're concerned about the competitive process and how that plays out in the long-term interests for consumers. So we were looking to see, what does this deal do to competition? How does it affect consumers? Is there net benefit for the long-term interest of consumers? And we think there is. It's not really our job to look after the profitability of a single airline, even if it's Qantas.
Yeah, okay. Now, this is a draft decision, of course. Where to now, Rod Sims?
We get comments from those who are interested. I think it's 18th of January, at some time mid to late January, when the deadline is for people to give us comments, and then we will aim to get a final decision out sometime in March 2013.
But it's very unlikely, given the way these draft determinations have gone in the past. It'd have to be a very strong objection for you not to proceed with the final tick.
Look, it would have to tell us something that we're not aware of now. That's right, Michael, and I think it's fair to say, while there's a lot of reservations amongst Qantas and Emirates competitors. None of them were outright, or very few of them, if any, were outright opposing the deal. So, look, that's fair to say it would be surprising, but we'll keep an open mind on this. The whole point of putting out a draft determination is so that people can understand our thinking and see whether there's any flaws in that. So we'll be awaiting those submissions with keen interest.
Rod Sims from the ACCC, thank you very much for your time this morning.
Thank you, Michael.